a lot of work with dealers, and even when I tell my ag dealers, I said, if you really want to learn how to manage a shop or manage a parts department, you need to go into an outdoor power equipment dealer. And they go like, well, what's the difference? And I go, we didn't used to think there was any, but it's a huge difference. So now I'm going to ask you the question. What makes outdoor power so difficult to do? Because I will tell you, I've been doing this for a lot of years now, outdoor power equipment shops, parts departments, maybe not so much the whole good side of it, but definitely parts of the service department, is so complex and so difficult to make work and make profitable. Why? We figured it out. It's kind of, once we did it, it was kind of one of those duh moments. What makes your service and parts departments so difficult to work and be profitable? Anybody know?
The variety?
Variety, maybe a little bit. That's not it. There's two really big things.
The number of customers.
Quantity, that's a piece of it. Okay, all right.
The value of the equipment's so much less. Repair bills can't be as high.
Well, here, let me give it to you. Number one, you have really stupid customers. We could be honest with each other. I work with a lot of dealers today, so I tell you, we're not here to make Bob feel good. We're here to we're going to lay it out on the table, soul and all. I'm going to tell you, you have some of the dumbest customers in the world. All right, there are people that you sell equipment to that has sharp spinning metal blades on them that shouldn't by law be allowed to run that equipment. How many people would agree with that? Okay, all right. So now you don't have that. And I always laugh because every dealer goes, oh God, you know it, Bob, you know it. I've been there, I see it. Okay.
If we didn't like you up to this point.
Okay. I just want you to know we're on the same page here. I get this, all right? Because 40% of the dealers we work with are outdoor power equipment dealers. And I tell people, that was a revelation to us because when you're in ag or construction equipment, my family all farms. They run 200, 300 horse tractors. We were talking before lunch. I said, you know what, my brothers have a shop that would rival most dealer shops. Okay, I mean, they do a lot of their own work. My brothers are college educated. They farm about 4,000 acres of land up in northwest Missouri. They are big farmers. So when they have a piece of equipment that breaks, and they know that it's going to have to go to the dealer to be serviced, they already know it's going to be expensive, right? So it ain't the money issue anymore. And they already know pretty much when the service manager's saying this is what's going to do, they have an understanding of it, so they get it. They understand it. Right? You've got people that buy your equipment that are not even aware that engines need lubrication, right? Okay, you know what I'm talking about here? All right, so I tell you, so that's a piece of it that they just don't know. Same thing with construction equipment. When you have a piece of construction equipment broken down, and you're doing mobile service on an excavator, the guy that runs it knows a lot about it mechanically. You got people out there that run tillers and push mowers and zero-turn mowers that don't even understand how they work. Right? Yet they're out there running them all the time. And so when they tell us what's wrong with it, they just go, it doesn't run. It won't start. It makes a noise. Right? What kind of noise? Just a noise. Okay. All right. So that helps us out a lot in our shop, right? Yeah. Doesn't run. And then, of course, in your shop, it always does what?
Run.
It always runs, right? Right? Or it just runs and shuts off and it never does after you run three tanks of gas through it, right? Are you know what I'm talking about there? So that's one of the issues. The other one, and you guys touched on a little bit, was the volume that happens in a short period of time. I was telling the guys, you know, in an ag shop, I've got some big ag dealers I work with that's got 20 techs in their shops. I mean, they've got, you know, a shop that holds 3 combines. It's this huge shop. They don't work on a combine for a half an hour. Are you aware of that? Okay, you know, combine time, tractor time is not measured by the hour. You measure it in half day or day increments. So if you had 20 technicians in your shop, but you knew each technician was going to be on a job for, say, 4 days, would you find that easier to manage? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I tell people, but now let's talk about outdoor power that we learned. Okay, in outdoor power, there is nothing, and nobody pre-plans, right? Because we know we're not for sure that spring's going to happen, right? How many people would agree with that? I mean, you know, I'm 60 years old now, but I'm still not always sure that spring's going to show up. Is everybody kind of aware of that? And of course, even if spring shows up, we're not sure that grass will grow. Of course, once the temperature of the soil gets to 50 degrees and you have water, grass always does what? Oh, it always grows. Okay. So everybody's shocked that grass grows, and when it finally gets warm, they do what? Oh, I need my what? I need my what fixed? My mower fixed. I was laughing. I talked to one of my dealers in Connecticut this morning before I came up here from Idaho Falls. They're getting this big storm that's getting ready to purge through out there, and they're just rubbing their hands together excited. I talked to him, and he looks like they're going to get about 2 foot of heavy wet snow, which means they're going to have a lot of what? People who didn't do what with their snow throwers. When they had plenty of time, they haven't done what? Service. Because you live in Connecticut, and it probably never snows in Connecticut, right? So he was laughing. He says, "Oh, it's just incredible out here, Bob. It's just fury. There's a fury of activity because everybody now is bringing their snow throwers in. We've been dead in our shop for a month, right? And now everybody wants what? Wants to. Now, of course, in my dealerships, we know that if that happens, we raise our labor rate up by $5 per hour instantly. Okay, so I tell people it's a supply and demand business. We're going to talk about that as I get into my program. So I want to share some things with you. I'm going to make you think very differently about the business that you're in. All right, because I tell you, we're in business, and we'll talk about it a little bit, but I want you to understand it. So that's what we had there. And then the volume. I was telling back there, I have a dealer in St. Louis, and about 6 years ago, I was over, and he's got 4 stores over there now, but he does a lot of just consumer work, and his main store is kind of in a more of a kind of a downtown kind of area there where there's not a lot of zero-turn mowers sold. And he's a Toro dealer, and I was there one day, and he had 130 Toro personal pace mowers come in one day. 130. And I was sitting there going like, holy smokes. And so again, but he used our process and stuff, but how do you deal with that? You never have that happen in an ag dealership. You never have that happen in a construction equipment dealership. So I tell people, so it took us almost 2 years. It's like parts departments. In construction and in ag, people come in very predictable ways. So if you're working in agriculture, and I'm not talking about compact tractors now, because there you have a lot of hobby farmers, so it's a little bit more like the outdoor power side of it. But if you get into construction, your parts department's going to be busy first thing in the morning, okay? And it's going to be busy when? From about 11 to 1. Why? Because that's when the wives are coming in to do what? Get parts that broke down. And then when it's going to be busy again is when? A little bit before you close. So it's very easy to manage a parts counter from a volume standpoint because you pretty much know it's going to happen here, it's going to happen here. I mean, in agriculture and construction equipment, we don't do lunches at the parts counter from 11 to 1. Because why? All hands on deck, because that's when the best happens. Now let's talk about outdoor power. When do people come in outdoor power? God only knows. There's nothing at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now there's 15 people in line and all the phones are ringing. Okay? And then it just goes away. And for some odd reason at 2 o'clock, there's 20 people in line now and all the phones are ringing. But there's nobody between those 2 points. Then tomorrow it might be at 9 o'clock. And it might be at 1 o'clock and it might be here. Right? I've never found that there's really a rhyme or reason to when people come in and out of power. So in your parts department, how do you staff your parts department? I don't know. Right? Because you don't have any what? You don't have any consistency what's going on. So that's the things that we had to learn. That's what I want to share with you today over the next hours. I want to share, here's what we figured out and here's how we made everything work. So ultimately, that's kind of where I came from over the years. I was laughing, I now take what I learned in outdoor power and I take it back now to my ag and my construction equipment dealers. Because I tell people again, if you can do what they do, you'll make a fortune. Because it's easy over here, it's tough over here. So I tell my service and parts managers, if you can manage a service department or a parts department in outdoor power, you can manage a service and parts department in anything. Because of the volume, you just get used to handling. So that's where I'm coming from. Today we're going to have a very much kind of, it's Bob talking, but I'm hoping that you ask questions and what about this and challenge me on this, because the business that we're in is a good business. Is outdoor power equipment a good business to be in? I was telling Blair when I came in this morning, I said, a lot of people talk about it being a bad business, but I said, if I were 20 years younger, so if I was 40, I would take $500,000 today and I would open an outdoor power equipment dealership, and I know right exactly in Kansas City where I'd put it in. Why? Because it's a phenomenal business being today. It's better today than it's ever been. Anybody know why? Well, let me give you some numbers. Back in the mid-'80s, is everybody in here Briggs certified? In your shops? Okay. I always use Briggs as a standard because most outdoor power equipment dealerships have a Briggs certified thing. So Briggs is kind of a good measurement of where things are at in the industry. In the mid-'80s, there were over 38,000 certified Briggs dealers in North America. Okay, so think about that. Over 38,000. 2 years ago, anybody have any idea how many there were?
8,000.
A little more than that. Not a lot more than that. Okay. A little over 13. So 2 years ago, there were a little over 13,000 registered Briggs dealers in North America, Canada and the US. So we went from 38,000 down to about 13,000. Is that a good or a bad thing?
Good.
Why would you say that's good?
Less competition.
There you go. How many people in here, remember we talked about capitalism, competition? Okay, so what percentage of your competition went away over the last 20 years? Almost 60% of it. So there's 60% less competition today than there were 20 years ago. Are there more people that have yards today than there were? Is there more equipment purchased today than there's ever been purchased? Absolutely. I tell people, so you're in a business today where there's less competition than there's ever been, and there's more what? Demand for your what? So tell me this is not a good business to be in. The thing is we got to figure out how to do what? Make what? Make money. So let's get started and talk about it. The number one thing we got to figure out is how do we, let me get this turned on here real quick. Do we understand why we're in business? When I go into dealerships, and that's the bulk of what I do a lot of speaking for the first 2 months of the year, but basically the rest of the year I'm in dealerships, working in the service departments and parts departments in jeans and steel-toe boots, and that's what we do as a company. We do about 100 dealers a year, turnarounds on shops and parts departments. Dealers have me come in a little first because they want me to do an evaluation of their dealership, and so we call it a diagnostic visit. When I come in, we look at the dealership and the whole aspect of the dealership, but I always end up asking the owners, because the owners are the ones that call me in. I say, you know, why are you in business? And I was just down in Somerset, Kentucky here about 3 weeks ago, and I had 2 owners that called me in down there. And when I came in on the morning, we sat down in their office, and the one guy's name was Dan. And I said, Dan, why are you here? And he said, first of all, Bob, let me tell you why you're here. He said, we don't really